All right, what's up, Jay?
What's
Jay
up,
Fades,
Tyler?
Jay Mason, however you go by now. I don't know what your name is these days.
Jay Mason.
Jay Mason's cool, yeah. Thank you for coming on the Hair in Motion podcast. It's a pleasure to be here in Rhode Island with you, America. If you can tell everyone who's watching, if anyone is watching, a little bit about yourself and how we know each other, really, I guess. That's kind of where we can start. That's where I want to tell people.
Yeah, so my name's Jay Mason. I'm from Providence, Rhode Island, born and raised. Somewhat of a self-taught barber until I eventually took a class with you. Recently now, I've just hit my 10-year mark, cutting hair professionally. I used to be a mechanic, left that, started cutting hair, found that was my true passion. Met you through some classes, really hit it off with you, was able to maintain a connection through Instagram with you and reach out to you, and you were always responsive, which some people aren't, especially when you have me in your DMs every day. And then you launched your own line of Hair in Motion, reached out to be an ambassador, got the opportunity to do that, been doing that for 10 months,
Yeah,
11 months.
it's quite a while now.
Took that, been rocking out with that for a while, been using the platform, and then recently took the opportunity to try to join the education team.
And
We're in phase 3 of that right now.
I was going to say, how's that going for you?
Today was great, to be honest. First day, I felt like an educator.
Yeah. How did that make you feel?
It's good, dude. Honestly, I mean, to be honest, going into it, like when I picked you up from the airport, I was like a little nervous, even though it's not like my class or anything like that. But I feel like this is shaking. But yeah, I just I was a little nervous just for what the unexpected could be. But yeah, as soon as we started, it just natural. It was nice to kind of, I know some of the guys in the class, so it was nice to be able to help them. They've been actually asking me to host a class, but I've been just trying to wait to get the proper training, which is.
Well, hopefully you'll be able to host a class soon.
Yeah.
That's the plan anyway, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Take me back a little bit to the start of your journey. Like, how did you get into barbering in the hair industry? Because I remember we were talking in the car just now on the way here, saying that your parents had different ideas for you.
Yeah.
Are they happy that you are where you are now?
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, I started cutting hair, thankfully, from my stepdad. Actually, my stepdad used to just shave his head bald with a zero. Right? And he would do it in like the basement bathroom on like a Saturday morning, and would call me down later on and be like, hey, can you get any spots I missed? And I got OCD, so I'm doing his whole head all over again. And that transferred him to, let me just shave your head, right? So back got the clipper in my hand, started shaving his head like every week or every other week. And I was always obsessed with my own hair. So I was like going to the barber every week or every other week. That was driving my parents crazy. Like, you just got a haircut. My dad gets a haircut like every 3 months or something like that. I'm trying to go every week. So yeah, started shaving my stepdad's hair. Started paying attention to the barber now. And when I would, my barber didn't take appointments. It was walk-ins only. It took like 3 hours to get your haircut on like a Saturday. So I would just sit in the open chair and like watch him cut. And then when I got a chance to get in the chair, I'd ask him like questions on how to like do a fade or a taper. Bought a little lineup clipper, started lining myself up, messing myself up. Then I just started trying to do a fade on my stepdad. Did like a 1 on top, 0 on the side, try to fade it out. It looked terrible, buzz it off. Did that like every week for a while. And then sooner or later I did one, and it was just, I would try, and it was just natural to just pop it off after and just buzz it. And I tried, and one time he like stopped me and was like, it looks good. So then that was it. I was doing a fade on him every week. And then that was maybe like freshman in high school. Then I started like lining my friends up, doing all evens, little tapers, stuff like that, messing with my own hair all the time. And yeah, I went to like a private school. Obviously my parents want the best for me, so they want me to go to college, but just my mind was not there as a kid to do something like that. I just couldn't sit in a classroom. decided to go to like the automotive route, which was another.
Would you see yourself as more of a visually creative person rather than an academic sit down and working person?
100%. Even like it's funny because I look back at whenever one of my clients asks me these questions, I always go back, and I remember sitting in the back of a classroom and like not paying attention because the guy in front of me needed the back of his head lined up so bad, and I'm like just daydreaming about like tapering his neck or lining him up. And
really,
it's funny because like I wrote like my senior essay or whatever it was on the art of barbering, you know.
Wow.
But didn't know that I actually like wanted to do that.
That's crazy.
So yeah, I was a mechanic for like 7 years. It was miserable. It wasn't for me. I mean, I like cars, but doing the corporate route of cars sucked the fun out of cars for me. And I just quickly was like, this is not for me. And it clicked for me later on, would be like, I'd have a terrible day as a mechanic and be like miserable driving home, and a buddy would call me, hey, can I get a haircut? I'd be like, yeah, come by at 10:30 at night. And I like loved cutting his hair. Then I'd have like the best day ever and come home and like someone needed me to change their tire or put a battery in the car, which is like the easiest thing in the world to do. And I'd be like pissed. Like I just worked all day long. I don't want to fix another car. And then that's when it kind of like clicked. So I like moved out of my parents' house, started cutting my roommate. We'd go out, people would compliment his hair. Next thing I know, I was coming home and I'm cutting all his friends. And then a close friend of mine, Larry, was like, you know, I come to you not because you're my friend, but you're better than my barber. And then I just started cutting him, and he kind of gave me the confidence to go that route. So I was just like cutting on my house for a while, teaching myself like YouTube videos and stuff like that. And then eventually just had enough of being a mechanic and just quit. And my buddy Shane owned a barbershop. I hit him up. He literally let me start like the next day. And then it was nice because the pressure was on me at this point. Like I decided to leave this career because I have a 401k and healthcare to go work for myself. And it put a nice chip on my shoulder because it was all up to me to make it work. And it was like, whatever you put into barbering, you get back. So I just worked 7 days a week for like a year straight. Worked on Sundays, worked late, did cuts at 12 o'clock at night, 4 o'clock in the morning, whatever I could do to cut a person or gain a client. And then it paid off for me.
Would you say that the hard path that you've taken in terms of working all those long hours and putting yourself in a position where it's all down to you, where you have to make yourself accountable, is that something that everyone needs to do or should do? Or do you believe it's an important part of growth to get to the next level?
I think it helps a lot. I think it helps a lot. Just grinding it out and not having it really handed to you. I got lucky. Like I put in work, but my buddy Shane that had the shop, like my first day gave me the key. Let me work Sundays. Let me work Mondays. Let me raise my prices when I wanted to raise my prices. So, you know, some people are putting in the work like that, but don't necessarily have a cool boss like that allows you to just raise your price, allows you to stay as late as you want, come in as early. So as much as I, you know, put in work like that, I kind of got lucky with having a very cool boss because he didn't have a boss like that when he first started cutting hair, and he didn't want to be that guy. So, yeah, I mean, it definitely put some calluses on you.
Do you
I was cutting hair for like $10 on like Wednesdays for students, you know? Like I would do no haircuts some days. Like I literally would watch all the other barbers cut hair, and I would just go around and watch what they're doing. Some were good. Some things I learned. Some things I was like, I'm not going to do that. And if I didn't cut anyone, I would literally stay at the shop until someone walked in. You know, it's weird because there's a few times where it's like 9:30 at night, haven't cut anyone. Everyone left at 5. And I'm like, I'm not going home until I at least cut one person. And I'm just like waiting there. And then I'm about to break. Like literally about to just be like, okay, I'm going home. It's 9:30. And someone walked through the door. And it was like, that was like that little like, oh, see, that's why you got to stay. You got to stay and get that one cut. Or, you know, I would like bomb the colleges with flyers for like $10 cuts. And yeah, it was just a grind. But, you know, like now that I had Mike in the shop, that was my advice to him when he first came here, was like, yo, if you just grind as hard as you can for a year, you can set yourself up in this business to do what you want and, basically make it.
Did you take a lot of inspiration from that boss that let you be flexible? Is that the type of boss that you like to be now? Is that the type of business that you like to run now? Like, what did you take away from your experience with him, and how do you implement that into your business
He's
now?
definitely a lot more chill than me, for sure. He doesn't even like to be called like a boss, at the shop. He was just, another barber like us. I try to be like that as much as I can. I'm definitely a lot more controlling than he might be. But yeah, I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to be like that for sure. It's just freedom, that's why we chose this job. We want the freedom to come and go as we want. Like, that's why I didn't want to be a mechanic. Like, I don't want to work 10 to 7 and like I can barely take a half-hour lunch break and do all that. And it's funny because when I was a mechanic, I hated the hours. Like, that was one of the biggest things. Like, I want to drop my kid off at school, or I want to pick her up from school. I want to be there for them. And you can't do that at that job. And then, fast forward, I work more hours now than I've ever worked as a mechanic. I work on my days off. I work, 6 a.m. to 10 o'clock at night sometimes, but it's a lot more rewarding when it's like for yourself or for your brand versus watching someone else in corporate America get rich off of you.
Agreed. Yeah. Have you always known what path you want to take in the industry from when you first started in barbering, or has that changed and adapted as you've got more experienced and like where you are today, for example? Like, was this always your vision?
It's kind of been a vision, but it kind of has changed at the same time. When I first started cutting hair, I like wanted to own a shop and have a bunch of barbers working for me. And then, maybe my first year in the shop, I realized it's kind of hard. You're dealing with like 5 different personalities, 5 different clienteles, and it can be stressful, especially when, I was the youngest barber in my shop and the newest barber in my shop, but I just treated that shop like it was mine, and, I would clean the leaves up in front of the door. I would go in on my days off and clean everyone's station just because like, that's how I wanted my shop to be. And then I realized sometimes smaller and simpler things can be better. And that's when I moved into my space now, Tailored. And it was just like me and Shane. And it was just 2 chairs. We were fully booked. We didn't take new clients. We didn't do any of that stuff. We had just a nice little private suite. And I was like, oh, wow, this is actually a lot nicer. I feel like my space is small and intimate, and you get that much more of a connection with your clients versus like a barbershop with 10 people. It's loud. Someone might be having something personal going on in their life and they don't want to discuss it in front of 10 people, but if it's just like you and me, or maybe he's, we're all comfortable with each other, they're going to talk in front of a few other people versus 10 people. As far as education route, I feel like it kind of organically grew within me. I've always been obsessed with it. Like education, yeah. Like my first year of cutting hair, like I didn't watch TV. I'd come on and put headphones on and watch a YouTube video while, my girl watched TV or something like that. And like, who did you
used to watch on YouTube? Can you remember back then? Was anyone in specific?
I think his name, I feel so bad that I'm like drawing a blank right now because he's the man. Vic the barber from like Cali, he like pop locks and stuff like that. Like, he had dope. Vic Damone, it might be his name. I hope I'm saying it right because shout out to that guy. Just like Randy Cuts, I think is his name. He's from like the Bay Area. There was a lot of like Cali barbers. And then when I got on Instagram, oddly enough, I came across your page and it was like
different.
Everyone that worked around you, if you put 1,000 haircuts up, I could pick out which ones were yours.
Really?
Yeah. It was like, it was just like different. And you were at the time doing these quick little snippets.
Yeah, that's when Instagram just brought videos out. I remember.
It was quick.
Yeah. That's when I started to blow up.
You're doing a little something, and then it was like this haircut, and it was like, how the hell did you do that? And I would watch him like 1,000 times in a row just to pick up like a small bit of like graduation. Like just watching the same video over and over and over again.
That's why I got so many views.
I know.
It was you,
innit? Me. I'm the reason. That's funny. Yeah, now if I could do that for someone, you know, I think that'd be great. I got a little piece of it with Mike so far, like helping him from like never cutting hair to being in a shop and being fully booked. And I think he's like right up there with people right now. I think, you know, if I had to get my hair cut, he's cutting my hair. I'm not going anywhere else, you know, and I'm very picky about my hair. So he's done a great job in a short amount of time. So yeah, I got a little piece of that, and I've been asked by a lot of local people to do it. So I feel like it's like kind of dangling the piece of food in front of me to get me to jump to do it.
What attracted you to my brand, Hair Emotion, in particular? Like, why did you want to become an ambassador? And then obviously I've opened up opportunity for ambassadors to step up and take an education role in the company, which is the process we're going through right now. Like, why maybe wouldn't you want to just do it on your own and do tailored education? Like, why be a part of what I'm doing? Like, why is that important for you that you've made this decision?
2 reasons. You allow me to still be me. You know, you're not like, hey, you can't promote tailored, you can't be yourself. I'm allowed to be myself. And I just really clicked with your style of teaching. And I love how you're able to do anything. Like, literally, you can bang out the cleanest fade on Afro hair, and you can cut women's hair. And when I first started cutting hair, that was like one of the scarier things for me to do is, you know, if someone came in and wanted a 2 on the sides or a taper or a fade, I was comfortable. But then we'd get like the hockey kids come in and they just want a little trimmed off. And I would like be shaking. My style of haircuts at the time were like, had to be clean and sharp and, you know, have these nice lines on them and everything be perfect. And then to cut hair and have it look like it's not done was very difficult to me. And, you know, when I started taking classes with you, I started being able to finally like have that vision and be able to execute it. So, yeah, I just, you know, the ambassador program is honestly relatively easy because I feel like I was sharing your stuff and promoting you without the ambassadorship. So like, you're literally asking me to do something that I was doing automatically,
I guess,
in a sense. So yeah, I just, you know, I look up to you. I've been looking up to you for a while. So the opportunity is great. I'd be an idiot not to jump on it. So
I appreciate it, man. It's a pleasure to be able to give people like you an opportunity across the world. So I'm excited, man. It's an exciting time for the company, you know, and I'm excited to bring on people that have been a part of my journey for a long time now. The opportunity to come and work beside me and give people opportunity. So yeah, it's cool, man. It's really, really cool. It's good. I'm interested to know what you think the biggest challenges are going to be for you taking this next step in your career, do you think?
Yeah, definitely being vulnerable in front of a bunch of people, I think, is definitely going to be a hurdle for me. I'm not like a big attention seeking person. I don't really like to be the focal point of certain situations. So I think, you know, in front of people that can cut hair, whether they're better than you or worse, you know, all eyes are technically on you at that time. So just being up in front of people and, you know, showcasing and just, I think it's just having confidence to know, like, you know, I put in the work, I deserve to be here.
Yeah.
I mean, cutting hair and stage in front of a bunch of people, it's got to be a little nerve-wracking, you know. But yeah, I think just putting myself out there and being in front of people doing what I do every day, which I do completely fine. But when you got some eyes on you, I feel like it's
a bit more heat.
Yeah.
I think what you'll find out is, what I find is really interesting and what I like to talk to people about is, it's not about who's the best at cutting hair makes the best educator.
True.
I know some amazing people out there that aren't technically the best haircutters out there in their field, but they're amazing people and they know how to talk to people, communicate with people, and they know how to draw in a crowd and tell stories, and people love them for that and people want to listen to them, and that's what makes them a great educator. And there are amazing people out there that I know who are unbelievable at what they do in terms of cutting hair, but they're not good teachers. And they know that, you know, so they don't really try and step into that realm. So being an educator isn't about being the best in the room. It's about being the most relatable person in the room that can pass on information that can help other people, you know, and you can do that through many different things, not just cutting hair. Cutting hair is the main thing that we want to do, of course. And obviously, if you can be one of those people that is good at what you do and good at passing on information, then for me, that's hitting the nail on the head for being good at teaching someone else. Yeah, but a lot of people don't actually know that they're good at those things until they do them, you know. And I think for me, mentoring a lot of other educators coming up through my company, it's given them like for some of them that are coming through, they're so talented and so technical and very, very experienced in cutting hair. You know, it's not necessarily about that side of things that I'm going to be helping them with. It's about getting them out there, giving them the confidence, giving them the platform, and just putting them up a level, you know, and giving them the opportunity to be able to teach on a bigger scale and a bigger level, which will also help me, and I'll learn from them, and it'll build the brand. And there's also another group of people that are coming through as an educator that need a little bit of work on their cutting and experience, and confidence in their ability, but they're very likable people, and they have, you know, a fairly good following, and people know them and follow them in the industry because of who they are. I still respected at haircutting as well, obviously, like they got to have it all, but it's funny how different personalities come into the education scene. And for me, as people's mentor and leader in this situation, it's important that I'm able to spot what it is they need from me to be able to take them to that next level, you know. And I've always told you that because you've done a lot of education and you've really worked on yourself and you're a perfectionist, you know, your cutting ability is your strength. And I think what I'm going to need to do for you is just make you aware of your own ability.
Yeah.
And that will then allow you to shine through and not be nervous to stand in front of people and cut hair. And because at the end of the day, the only reason why you're saying these things is because you're the person in your head telling you that you're not good enough to be standing there, or maybe there's people in the crowd better than me at cutting hair. Like, that's completely irrelevant when you stand in front of people.
Well, when you touch on the perfectionist thing, I think that's also my problem, is like, I want my first class I do to be perfect. You know what I'm saying? Which
we all do, but let me tell you, my first class, was not perfect, and look where I am today.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
Yeah, I just got to chop it back down to stage one again and build it back up.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely a perfectionist, you know?
Yeah.
For sure.
You need to be. I'm a perfectionist too, you know. I'm competitive. To be fair, I'm not a perfectionist at all. I lie. I take that statement back. I'm competitive.
Yeah.
I'm so competitive. Yeah. I think I got that from my brothers, you know, growing up around people, brothers, where I needed to be the best. I needed to beat them at everything, you know, whether it was a video game or a football outside. Like, I just wanted to be better than them. And I still have that attitude and that mentality now with everyone around me, you know.
Honestly, if you're not trying to be the best at something, why are you doing it though? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, not to say that you don't have to be the best to be an educator, but I've always wanted to be that, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. And, I think, you know, through sports and everything, I've always searched for that. And then it was like, this has kind of been the one thing that kind of clicked for me, where I was like, oh, wow, I think I can actually kind of be the best around or whatever like that. So,
have you had any mentors through the industry as of yet?
They might not know they were a mentor. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously Shane, who gave me the key to the shop the first time I went there, was obviously, you know, teaching me the ropes. And every guy that worked at Elmhurst with me, obviously was a mentor in some sort of way. But yeah, I mean, I looked up to a lot of people in the industry, and they might not have sat there and like gave me like one-on-one advice, but I was watching them close enough to, you know, try to navigate my way and stuff like that. Yeah.
Do you think it's important that you have that type of figure in, like, do you think everyone needs some sort of mentor coming up in the industry, or is it not that important? Do you think that you can just do it off your own back?
I think it depends on the person.
Yeah.
You know, me personally, I think I do. To just look at what, for instance, before Instagram came around, you know, I just wanted to be the busiest barber. I just wanted to be successful. I wanted to cut hair, pay bills, and be happy. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was my first goal. Yeah. And then Instagram comes along, and, you know, all of a sudden it's like, that's not enough, almost, in a sense. You know what I'm saying? You got to do more than that.
Like, look at all these other guys. Look what they're doing.
These are the, you know, I might be the top person in the smallest state, but outside of the world, all these top people are doing this. You know what I'm saying? So, it, like I said, I'm always, I don't ever celebrate I don't ever celebrate a victory in a sense. It's like I hit an achievement and it means nothing. I'm move
What's
on to the
next?
next one.
Yeah.
I don't ever kind of like sit there and like look back and be like, oh my God, you know, I'm fully booked and I charge $100 a haircut and, you know, I have a house, I have a family. Like those things are great, but for some reason, when I check an accomplishment off, it's like on to the next goal right away. So for me, to just see the horse out in front of you kind of still going and climbing pushes me to do that as well. You know, some people have that naturally, that just have it driven inside of them to, you know, push the industry ahead. You know, someone like yourself, I don't know, I'm sure you have a mentor too and people that you look up to, but you know, I think it depends on the person, but me personally, I think, yeah, to look up to someone and be like, you know what, damn, I want to do that, or I want to do my version of this or that is important to me.
Being inspired by people, I think, is kind of what you're looking at right now.
100%.
Yeah. It's important to be inspired by people around you, whether they're in your industry or not.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. So obviously you're busy in the salon a lot of days, you're pushing yourself towards this new education path. What about when you're not cutting hair? Like,
you want to go down the golf route right now?
Well, I mean, you're look at the hat you're wearing, bro. Come on, man. you got to explain yourself with this hat.
Yeah, obsessed about golf. I'll bring it back to cutting hair for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Obsessed with golf, and what I love about golf, much like hair, is whenever I do a haircut, a play around a golf, you want to have it perfect, but you'll never have a perfect round of golf, and you'll never have a perfect haircut. Like there's always that one thing or something that went wrong, or this person's hair doesn't quite do what you think. And yeah, that's what I love about golf. And obviously we talked about it yesterday in the car coming back from the airport. We're a big, like, it's a very big energy giving industry. People come in with problems and you're constantly, you know, people are down, you're building them up. People have this stress, that becomes your stress for the 45 minutes or an hour they're in in your chair. It's a constant flow of energy. And golf is huge for me, to just get out in the sun, in a field, you know, and play a game and not think about anything that's going on in life. It's huge, huge mental health for me, for sure. And it's something that you can play for the rest of your life. Something that I can get my kids into and play. And that's how I got into it. Like my grandfather got me into golf. That got me playing with my dad and my stepdad. I play with my stepdad like every Sunday. And I hope like when my kids get going that, you know, they'll want to play with me and stuff like that. And yeah, I love golf. Obsessed with it.
Nice.
Can't get enough of it. I wish I could play golf at night. I want to push that. That's like my next thing. Is I want a public golf course to have like some
floodlights.
Yeah. So we can play golf.
Well, we're playing tomorrow night, no? We're going to play some mini golf.
Yeah.
If you're still up for it.
Oh, I'm up.
You're pretty scared of it though.
No, I'm not.
If you do lose to me though, like
if
it's going to be.
If I lose to you, I already have the excuse that it's not real golf, and we can go play real golf. Hopefully I get you there.
That's not a real excuse though. As long as there's a putter and a golf ball, then that's golf to me. Yeah.
True.
So we'll have to see what happens. So obviously, you do golf. For other people, it's different things. How important do you think it is for you to be able to zone out of that like business mindset and like boss mindset and just not think about work and things that may stress you out to do with that for a while, whatever that is in people's lives? Like, how important do you think that is?
I think it's very, very important. Yeah. Especially someone with like, I'm very obsessive about everything I do. You know, if some people can come home and not take work home with them. Like I literally work 24/7. A client texts me at midnight, I'm answering them.
Yeah.
If someone texts me at 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm looking at it. I get DMs. I'm on 24/7. And if I'm not answering a question like that, it's like I'm watching a movie and I'm like, who the hell lined up Denzel Washington? You know what I'm saying? Like in my mind, I'm just like so obsessed. About stuff that like I can't shut it off. So for me personally, stepping on the golf course with my friends, with my family, by myself, I'll play golf by myself. I'll play golf with 3 complete strangers that I don't know, which is not like me. Like, I'm not like that type of person. I'm very like social in the shop, but if you take me out of the shop, I'm very, to myself. And you put me on the golf course and I'm talking to 3 random dudes for 4 or 5 hours, and we leave and we're like the best of friends after. And yeah, I haven't thought about one real life worry, the entire time. And I think everyone needs that escape, whether it's working out, tennis, whatever your thing is. Like, you have to have something other than work.
Yeah.
To help you.
I agree, man. And does your partner get annoyed that you're always this busy? Is that something that you want to continue to be busy? Do you want to spend more time with your family? Have you got plans to do that?
Yeah.
Does like your dynamic work with your family, and do you find it difficult to find the balance in life with that?
I definitely have a problem with it. Yeah, definitely. She would probably say I'm a workaholic for sure. But I have a family that I'm supporting. And she does a wonderful job at never busting my chops about it. She doesn't bust my chops about golfing too much or working too much, but whose partner doesn't want to spend more time with them? You know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, like, being super busy in the shop is like, someone's got to pay bills, and do stuff like that. And if you like the finer things in life, then, you got to work for them. Yeah, I mean, I'm foresee myself, hopefully this education stuff takes off, and that will buy me some time to be at home more, because I definitely miss out on a lot of family stuff. Yeah. Just simply working on Saturdays, I miss out on a lot of family stuff. And my girl stays home with the baby now. So, I'm like the primary, bread getter at the moment. She does work 2 days a week, but yeah, I definitely have a work-life balance problem for sure. But I think if you like want to go get something, you have to be a little bit on that horse to go get it,
You do, man. There's no such thing.
No one's gonna knock on the door and just be like, you want to work 2 days a week and make X amount of money and be chill. You gotta kind of like go get that.
It's an interesting question. I do like asking people that question.
Now that, can I ask you a question? Now that you've
switched to what?
To doing what you're doing, and you're kind of out of the salon thing, have you gained more time with your family? Because you travel how often?
Every other week.
Every other week, you're
in a different country every other week. Yeah.
And then that week you're home.
So
you're still working.
It's interesting because it's just a completely different dynamic. Like, when I was so I haven't been working in a salon environment now for probably nearly 7 years. Like, it's a long time. Yeah. I kind of forgot what it feels like, to be honest with you. But I do remember very, very vividly of how my life was then and stuff. And it's different, I was working a lot of the time, 5 days a week, 10 a.m. till 8 p.m., 5 days a week. Then trying to fit in some sort of gym schedule and doing some sports, socializing. This was before I had children, obviously. And then I was also doing part-time education at the weekend and stuff. So I was pretty much working 6-7 days a week whilst I was in the salon, which is a lot, it doesn't leave a lot of time for a partner at all, to be honest with you. So that is tough in itself, when you're trying to pursue more than just working in the shop. And even before I was doing that and I was just working in the shop is hard. It's hard hours, it's hard graft. Like, I remember it, like, I've done it, I've been there. So I didn't have that much spare time, and the spare time that I had, I was tired.
Yeah, I hear you. Especially when you're like talking to people all day long, and then you come home and then you have a partner that obviously hasn't seen you all day and wants to have a conversation, and you're like, I'm sure we all
feel that.
Yeah.
But now, I could work intensely. For example, like, 1 week could be like a couple of days of filming and editing and doing that type of work for the online academy. Then I could be doing some one-to-one education. Then I could fly to a different country and teach for 2 days and then fly home. And before I know it, that's 5 or 6 days gone past without having any time off. and then I'll come home and I'll make sure I have like at least 2 or 3 days off just at home with the kids and the family. So my flexibility has improved, and I can take the time off when I want to and if I choose to. But when I'm working, I'm away more and I'm working more, if that makes sense. So like, you know, it's not as easy as just going to work and switching off when you come home, like you do in the salon. It's like I'm constantly 24/7 a boss. You know, I'm a leader. I have lots of different people and responsibilities to cater to, lots of places to travel to, and organization to deal with. And where the company's at right now, I can't offlay that to everyone or other people that where I would want to, you know, like it's a slow progression. Technically it's a small business still, you know, and I do a lot of it myself, admin wise and things like that. But eventually I want to get to the stage where I can offlay a lot of that type of work that I don't want to do, to other people that will help build the company, which will allow me to have more time off for one, when I need it, and also give other people opportunities to educate and teach for when I can't do it or if I'm too busy. Next year, with the teams being built and stuff that we're building, the education teams now, obviously I'm never going to stop traveling and working because it's what I love to do as well. You know, it's my passion, it's my purpose, and the brand needs me to do it, and I still want to do it. But I'm definitely going to tone down the amount that I'm traveling and the amount that I'm away from home next year, and give more of that type of work to my team members who are going to be working alongside me in the education company. So that is a big part of why I want to not only build the brand and make it something bigger and what I believe it could be, but also give me the opportunity to not be able to be away from home so much. Because I've been traveling for like 10 years, man. Like, yeah, I know. That's a long time to be traveling. I know. You know, like I'm pretty tired. Yeah, you know, like imagine. It doesn't get me that excited anymore. Like I love it and I love meeting people and connecting with people, but most of the work that I do now is with people that I know that I can trust, and then I know that I can connect with, and I've got experience with them and I've done stuff with them before, because that's the sort of stuff that I like to do now. Like I don't do many new opportunities anymore because, you know, I don't know, I just don't really like to anymore. Like sometimes I take new stuff on when it's like big stuff, you know, and it's a new opportunity, but I generally like to work people with that I know, you know, and because I've done it for such a long time now, I have connections all over the world. It's quite easy for me to like do that. And that's kind of like where I'm at with that now. So my work-life balance has changed massively. Could I answer the question, is it better now than it was? No, it's just different. It's different. Yeah. So I could, like next week, for example, I get home, obviously I'm away from Saturday to Wednesday, working away, traveling in here in the States. And when I get home, I'll probably take Thursday, Friday, Saturday off, just because I need to. And then I'm teaching 1-to-1 from Sunday, and everything from then on. So yeah, it's nice, you know. I'm more in control, but that doesn't mean that I'm being more lazy at the same time, you know. Like I know exactly. That's kind of the best way to answer it, really. It's not a simple question, you know, to answer. What's your vision with Tailored specifically? Like, what do you want to do with it? Do you want to stay with one shop? Do you want to grow it? Do you want to grow? Oh no, I know you want to grow the team. What's your vision with it?
Yeah, great question. I have many different visions of it, to be honest.
Right now. Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty happy with what I'm at.
Okay.
You know, I go back and forth about expanding here and there. I just know that if I get a bigger building, more responsibility, everything like that, I kind of like the fact that I'm good where I'm at the moment. And, you know, I'm a little bit more focused on like the education thing. And, you know, my vision is kind of honed in on that for the moment. And I want to see what that leads to. And I think that will affect my next move, to be honest.
Nice.
You know? I could go into this and love it and like, you know, that's my main focus and now I'm obsessed about this. Or I don't know, I could do it and maybe I don't like it. And then I come back and I realize like, okay, I gotta start a new plan and, you know, this isn't the route I'm gonna go, I'm gonna do this or something like that. So with my whole career, I've kind of just let everything organically happen and it's been working out for me pretty good.
Do you think it's important to be open-minded with adapting and changing plans and ideas in life?
Yeah, it is. It's a hard thing for me to do for sure. But the unknown is where it's at. You got to go out there sometimes. Got to go out in the dark.
It's the scary shit that is the best shit.
I know.
Yeah, I know. Like if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. I love that saying.
Yeah, I know. And I think we talked about that the other day of just like, I'm comfortable and I know I shouldn't be. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I hate feeling comfortable, man. I get itchy feet, man, when I'm too comfortable.
For instance, like one of the things I hated the most about cutting hair is walk-ins. I hated cutting walk-ins. I hated not knowing who the hell I'm cutting. I hated not knowing the person. I worked my ass off so I didn't have to take walk-ins. And then that transferred to like, now I don't really take new clients. I kind of run the shop like a country club in a sense. Like if I don't know you and like two of your buddies that vouch for you, like I'm not going to cut your hair. I really don't. I really am. People probably hate me.
It's hard. It's hard to get in your shop then.
It really is. Dude. I don't have an address. I don't have an online booking thing. Like if people looked at me and realized like how I run my business, I run it like it's like a barbershop in 1989.
Yeah.
I have a paper schedule. There's no online booking. There's no shop phone number. There's no address. There's no sign. It's like a straight up speakeasy barbershop. If you know where it is.
Are you going to keep it that way? Do you want to? Or would you introduce online booking maybe to make your life easier? No?
No.
Not that you would advertise your online booking to the public, but to your clients so they could easily. No.
I think it's a hassle.
Yeah.
I know people that have online, I don't want to bash the name because it's not the name, but I know people that have online booking. They still deal with the same thing I'm dealing with. But you also have an app that you have to deal with as well. So you're doing two things instead of just like
which breaks.
Yeah, exactly. Or it doesn't work, or people still hit you up. So it's like you're still doing the same thing even though you have this other thing. And I mean, how many people cut hair before an online booking service? Not that I hate on them. I think they're great for people in certain situations.
For some businesses, I think they work.
Like, how I started, that wasn't even a thing. And I've gotten pretty good at doing what I'm doing. And yes, it takes some time out of my day, but those questions are still coming and those requests still come no matter what you have. And I like just having complete control over my schedule. If I wake up and these are the people that I'm cutting, that's who I'm cutting. If someone drops off, cool, I get a longer break, or I'm going home early.
Or you know who to message to come in and fill that spot.
Or that,
for sure.
Or I'm going to cherry pick my day.
Yeah.
Like I have a picky, aggravating guy to cut, or I have this easy guy that tips me double. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm going to pick that guy.
Yeah.
Versus like this guy just signed onto the phone and got the spot luckily, Yeah. So, yeah.
I understand the pros and cons for both. I'm just asking what would work for you, I guess. But you like how the system works right now.
Yeah, I do. I have complete control, and I'm a control freak. So,
yeah.
But yeah, getting back to it was like comfortable. I've been comfortable doing what I've been doing for a while. I'm comfortable with who I cut, and it's been great. And I'm very happy with where I am. And if nothing ever changed, I could live a happy life. But obviously, there's something inside of me that is telling me to, keep going and do something else. Keep pushing. The education thing keeps kind of like grasping my attention. So I'm at the door now of it.
What do you think the biggest thing that the barbering industry has given you, would you say?
Everything. Literally everything. I paid school that I went to be a mechanic for off with barbering. I bought my house with barbering. I feed my family. Everything I have is from barbering. Everything. Beautiful. Yeah.
Do you feel like you're still at the start of your journey?
Yeah. That's part of my problem with entering the education world. I've been cutting hair for 10 years, which is a good amount of time, you know? But I feel like I just started, and I learn so much every single day.
But that's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Like for me, when I talk about my journey in my company, I still tell people like it's only just the beginning. And it's weird for people to see that with the things I may have achieved and the success that I've had in my 13 or 14 years of the hair industry, which has been amazing, when I reflect on it, but I still feel like it's really just the start of everything, and that's a beautiful feeling. I think if you feel like you are at a place where you're not gonna grow, or you're not gonna go any further, or you can't, achieve anything more. Like, that's a dangerous position to be in, and I would hate to feel like that.
Yeah, I agree.
And I know a lot of people do feel like that.
I don't know anyone that feels like that, thankfully.
Well, you're surrounding yourself with the right people,
Yeah.
then, I guess. But I know a lot of people that do, which is interesting. So just to kind of wrap this conversation up, which has been amazing. I could chat to you for a long, long time. I do always ask the question to the guests, if you were to go back to...
I know this question because
I know.
watch every podcast.
That's fine. That's great. So you prepared for it a little bit?
Kind of, but not really at the same time.
What about if I've changed the question for this podcast?
I'm ready for anything. The unknown. The unknown.
All right. If you were to go back to the younger self of Jay Mason, to the first day that you started at the barbershop, with everything that you know now, what would be the main bit of advice that you would want to give yourself?
Can I answer that in 2 questions? I'd like to go back to
you can
Jay in
you
high
can
school
you,
first.
you can answer it in as many ways as you want.
I'd go back to myself in high school and tell myself to drop out and stop cutting hair right now.
Start cutting hair.
Start cutting.
Yeah, start
like,
cutting hair.
The hell
Yeah.
with school. I mean, parents will probably be mad at me saying that, but like, the hell with school. This is what you want. Double down on what you really are passionate about and go for it. Because, I'm happy I did something that I didn't like first, because it made me appreciate barbering so much more. So like, I feel like if I had not gone that route, I wouldn't love it like I love it now. But I also feel like, damn, if I didn't waste that time, where would I be now?
But you wouldn't be the person that you are today
True.
without that time
True.
in your life.
True, 100% true. So it all kind of has to happen. But first day, Jay, I would honestly say, I don't know, man. I feel like I kind of did it right. Like, work hard. Just work hard. It's going to happen. Just keep knocking. Just stay late. Be the first one there. That's what I did. I've heard that's what people tell you to do. Be the first one to show up. Be the last one to leave. I did that. I would probably say stay away from being comfortable. Like, cut those walk-ins that you don't like to take.
Yeah.
Take that client that you shied away from because they had longer hair or a style that you didn't like. I definitely kind of was intimidated at first, but it's like those struggles that you get, like we saw today with a couple new people in the class that's struggling. I kept telling them, like, yo, take your time and enjoy it. Like, that's why you're here.
Enjoy the struggle.
Sure. You got to do that. And I hated that feeling when I would be in the middle of cutting someone's hair and like be struggling a little bit. I wish I could like turn it back a little bit and just talk myself into just enjoying that feeling, even though it's not a comfortable feeling.
I almost get, touching on what you just said there about students, when I work with students, my style of teaching is to let the student struggle a little bit before you show them how to do it the right way. If you just show them and jump on them straight away, they're never going to feel the struggle and learn. So one of the students today said that he wants to beat the hell out of his mannequin head, and that's not the first time I've heard that. And it's so funny, but it's funny because how they're feeling at that precise moment, but they will get over it and they'll be stronger for it. And that's why it's funny to us, because we've experienced that and gone through that, but you can also respect the feelings that they're feeling at that moment in time.
That was funny as hell.
It is funny, yeah, of course.
But yeah,
it's like anything,
you
right?
gotta struggle, man. Like, I think I said it a few times, like, why would you take a class that you could, if you did it perfect, why would you take the class? Like, why would you take the class and knock out a square layer without any help? You're not learning anything, Like, when you would check my mannequin head today, I'm like, nitpick it. Like, literally nitpick it. I don't care if you think that I know it's not perfect. There's something that could have been done different. Like, I need to know the nitpick. And I kind of had that, luckily, when I first started cutting hair. Like, I was sending pictures to the guy that I ended up working for. I'd send pictures to my haircut, and they were doing the nice thing to do is like, wow, that came out good, which is cool. Like, you got to build confidence with people. And at the same time, I was like, all right, but what can I do different? Like, what can I do better? I don't want to hear just like, good job. I want constructive criticism, whether that sometimes people don't take that too well, but you kind of need someone real in your corner to, that's looking out for you, giving you good advice.
I think you can always trust the people around you the most, and then know that they're the real ones, the ones that are truly honest with you, whether you do want to hear it or not, right?
100%.
Would you say you have any regrets?
About hair?
Yeah.
In general?
About hair. In your journey, since you started, is there any regrets that you look back at and think, I wish I would have done that, or I wish I didn't do that, or I wish I would have done that differently? Anything like that?
I feel like no, because I had some opportunities that I declined, but I feel like I declined them for the right reason, because organically later on down the road, it's a better path for me. It could have been a great thing if I did certain things, but I think just being patient and knowing I'm going to take my time and I'm going to do something when I feel like it's right. Where some people say like, oh, it's never the right time to do something. I've been very patient throughout this, and it's been paying off for me. So no, I don't have really any regrets. Probably could have handled a couple client situations a little bit better, but hey.
We're only human, man.
Yeah.
We're only human.
I can only put up with people for so much.
Yeah, me too, bro.
That kind of is like the tough part about the business. Sometimes the people that you're dealing with, they don't understand. They think you're the only one that cuts their hair.
Yeah.
Like there's no other people.
Yeah, it's
or that you're a human and have a life and a family that want you to be home.
It's a hard industry.
Yeah.
But it's also a very rewarding industry.
Very. Whenever someone is happy with their haircut and they feel like $1 million and they think they got the job interview because of me, they feel great on their wedding day, they got a first date or anything, like, anyone that's experienced a good haircut, they want someone to see it. They want to go out. They feel as best as they possibly can. And that is the most rewarding part for me.
Yeah.
Now I'm looking to try to pass that on to other people where they can do it for other people.
For sure, man. The roles do change, and I've experienced that on a big level. When you're in the salon, you're serving your client to make them feel the way that you just described. Don't need to go over all that again. And then when you're an educator, it's not about necessarily the client. It's about the student, and it's giving them the confidence. It's filling them with the feeling of excitement and wanting to go and do more of what they love to do, and showing them different things. So you go from serving your client to serving students. It's a very powerful thing, where you're passing that energy through to different people in different ways, and coming across or seeing the students become much better versions of themselves, whether it's 6 months or a year or years down the line after that they've done your classes, is a beautiful thing.
Touching people's lives.
Yeah, man. That's what keeps me hooked, I think, as some sort of drug, to education. It's seeing the changes and making the impact and the difference in people's lives, which is something that every human does in some sort of way. But for me, it's definitely through education and improving people's abilities and lives from all sorts of different things, and that's what I love about it the most, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's great.
Beautiful.
Yeah, man. Well, look, I think we'll end it there. That was a beautiful podcast, and I'm sure people take a lot away from your story and what you've experienced and what you've had to gain and everything else that's going on in Jay Mason's life. But where can people check you out if they want to check out your Instagram or
Instagram at jfades401. That's where I'm at.
Nice. And you obviously can't book appointments with you.
Yeah, I'm booked for the next 10 years. No. People do get lucky. Every once in a while, I'm in a good mood and I answer a random DM and give someone a shot. But yeah, jfades401. We're booked and we're tough to get in with, but
nice. And obviously you're based in Rhode Island, Providence,
the smallest
States.
state.
Nice, man. And you'll be seeing a lot more of Jay going into 2024 through hair and motion education. So I'm excited for that journey along with you.
Thanks, man.
No worries, man.
Appreciate the opportunity.
Pleasure.
Hell yeah.
Thank you.